Ridiculous questions.
Meticulously debated.
This is Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Well, I was happy just last night. I've been losing sight. Citing all the falling fights. What is this if this ain't right? Back again, no monster rights. Losing life until that night. Life never let him lie. Light as my car passes way.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong. I am going to be guiding your sleigh tonight. I am Josh Ballard.
No.
I think that means that Josh has a red nose. I'm Ryan.
This is Joe, and if Josh is guiding your sleigh, you're definitely not going to make it to Cleveland on time.
That's not true.
I've seen your workout regimen. You ain't pulling no sleigh.
Don't worry, Ryan. He's got that fancy new bicycle he bought, and so that's his workout regimen. It's about to really jump off.
Look, I got the Peloton going. I'm trying to get fit for Christmas.
All right, everybody say it with me. On three, we're going to say bougie on three. 1, 2, 3. Bougie. Josh, that's bougie.
Look, I'm trying to bring cheer to the children all over the country with my pal Santa Claus. He came by the show last week. I talked to him.
Is that when you asked for the Peloton?
Well, yeah, it was kind of what I negotiated. In order to be his reindeer, I needed the Peloton. So we worked it out.
Okay, will you at least admit to us that it is a cult? The cult of Peloton.
Oh, Peloton. I thought you were talking about Santa's helpers, because that's definitely a cult.
That's a different cult. I mean,
he has a compound on a totally different continent.
They're not but
whoa, Ryan, what is your problem?
Oh, I mean,
we talked about this
you
a
are
couple
just
weeks ago.
an
You
unhappy
can't do this.
person.
You are just trying to intentionally inflict harm on people and cause the ears of the children to become infected with your nonsense.
General public, I apologize for Ryan. He is a sad, miserable sack, and just ignore him.
He's a menace.
Let's get back to making fun of Josh for being on a Peloton.
I have to tell you what, we're talking about seeing Santa. The first year we took my daughter to see Santa. She was too young, didn't care. She was like 8 months old, so it didn't matter. Last year, she knew who Santa was and talked this huge game about I love ho-ho. I can't wait to see Santa, yada, yada, yada. First time we saw him was at Rachel's work. They do this really awesome breakfast, and they bring Santa in. You could do private photos with Santa. She didn't do well there, cried, whatever. We thought it was maybe just an anomaly. They did one at church. We took her to church. I think you can go on my socials if you want to find it, Joe128723. There's literally a picture of Sloan clawing at Rachel's back, trying to pull herself away from Santa as hard as she can. It's so funny. When he walked in the room, she wouldn't even look at us anymore. She just locked eyes with Santa and followed him around the room the entire time. And as soon as he started to get close to us, buddy, she opened up and started wailing.
Now, I don't mean to distract us from what we're talking about, but I just need to circle back up to your Instagram handle, Joe. How did you end up settling on that? Was that just created by Instagram or
the worst? I think it was created by the algorithm.
No. Okay, so 1287. I was born in December of 1987. Okay. And I believe I was 23 when I came up with that particular.
That's not how people name things.
It's their age number.
So it's 128723.
Joe,
find me, give me a follow. That'd be nice. I may follow back. I don't know.
I think we might have to type it out somewhere. I don't know that anybody's going to remember that undecipherable code you put it there in your name.
And also for all you out there buying birthday presents, my birthday's on Christmas Eve. You can't see me, but feel free to send me some cash, gift cards. I like gift cards. We talked about that. I don't mind them at all. I prefer Home Depot right now, but yeah, that'd be great if you all could do that. Slide in my DMs with the Venmo and Cash App.
Now I know we've aged out of Santa. He told me himself when I talked to him last week. But is that what you were going to ask Santa for? Were you going to sit on his lap and ask him for Home Depot gift cards?
Yes, because I mentioned it before. But
you can't ask Santa for a gift card.
Okay.
You can ask Santa for a planer or whatever.
Then I'm going to ask Santa for a 20 circuit, 40 slot, 100 amp service panel, and 60 feet of 2-aught single conductor, single phase wire.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're going to ask him for.
Everything you just said was less complicated than your Instagram handle.
Yep. Easier to understand than 128723.
You just got it. Obviously, it wasn't that hard to understand. You got it.
Well, because you gave us some mnemonic devices to remember it.
Well, now you know my birthday when I was born.
You shouldn't need a mnemonic device.
We also know when you were 23 years old. Now, Ryan, what would you have asked Santa for if he was willing to bring you?
Well, I always dreamed of, when I was a kid, opening a big box and getting the brand new, gaming system on Christmas Day. Uh-huh. And now I don't know that I'll ever be able to buy another gaming system unless it is for some future child that I have. So I think I'm going to ask Santa for a PS5.
Now, the good news is all the elves built bots to just swarm all the department stores with and buy them all up. So
what was that? Those were Santa's bots? So he got
that was
all
Santa's bots. Yeah, he's got reindeer, elves, and bots now. So he's golden.
Should we find a way to our current topic?
We have a topic?
No, we actually intentionally did not have a topic.
And that'll be the episode. So thanks everybody for listening.
No, we do have a topic, and it is one that I think will obviously appeal to our sensibilities as Kentuckians, but also I think is an important question for everybody to ask. And that is, if all of Santa's reindeer, excluding myself, were entered into a reindeer Kentucky Derby, which one would win?
So bad. So bad.
Does that count as singing?
Was that from your butt?
No, that was a brass instrument. If my butt could do that, I'd be making millions because I'd be on TV.
Oh my gosh.
Millions?
Yeah, I'd be on TV. Dude, think about how viral that would be if my butt could sing.
I don't think anybody wants to have that go viral.
You honestly don't think people would pay to watch that? If you don't,
no.
All right. Would. So when we decided to do this, this is probably almost a throwback at this point to our old format where we actually debate a topic.
Well, we'll see.
So for those of you who have been listening for a while, you will recognize this as a real debate where we did some research. I had a little bit too much fun researching some reindeer facts.
I did too, because little do people know, but there is a lot to unpack with these reindeer. Like, I was expecting to just look up their names and find out a few fun facts about when they started and stuff. No, there's a rich history online.
Layers upon layers.
These little furry creatures.
Some people have too much time on their hands is what it boils down to.
And it's also, as we had discussed right before we started recording, a little bit conflicting. So we may get into some of the conflicting reports that have gone into the myth lore of Santa's reindeer.
I'd say we almost certainly will. So how about this? I want to start with some fun facts right off the bat. We need to let the audience learn more about these little creatures, or big creatures.
As we have said recently, we are first and foremost an educational podcast.
You probably know Santa's 9 main reindeer: Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and Rudolph, of course.
But Rudolph is not canon.
Rudolph is not canon. That is correct. The actual first reference to Santa's sleigh being pulled by a reindeer actually came from an illustrated poem that came out in 1821 called Old Santa Claus with Much Delight.
Topo Gigio.
Topo Gigio. Now, this poem was published in New York and kind of inspired the lore that Santa Claus had reindeer that pulled his sleigh. It was 2 years later when A Visit from St. Nicholas, which has now become known as The Night Before Christmas, by Clement Clark Moore, was published and actually named the 8 reindeer.
What a great name, Clement.
Clement Clark Moore. That is a poet if I've ever heard one. Now, the interesting thing about this poem is that he technically did not name all of the reindeer what they've come to be known as. In fact, he only mentioned Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid. The words Donner, which actually wasn't Donner, it was Dunder, and Blitzen, which he actually wrote as Blixen or Blixen, it's debatable, were actually Santa Claus exclaiming for the reindeer to go faster. So it was like Dunder and Blixen, not Donner and Blitzen. But we just couldn't read.
Well, you have to tell them why he exclaimed those. You tell them what it meant. Did you know what it meant?
I did not know
see,
what it meant.
I
missed this in my
more.
research.
So it was believed that Dunder and Blixen was actually Dutch for thunder and lightning. So what you are saying is correct, but it was an exclamation as like on Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Dunder and Blixen. So like on thunder and lightning, like you were saying. So yeah, this was some real research that we did here, people.
Well, Dunder Blixen is my favorite fake paper company.
Man, you stole my joke.
I'm so sorry. Now, you might ask, what about Rudolph? Where did he come into the picture?
Screw Rudolph.
Screw Rudolph. Over 100 years later before Rudolph pops up.
He did not show up until the 1900s. We are talking, these reindeer have been around for millennia before Rudolph comes around.
I just watched that movie again with Sloan. His parents are awful.
Well, we have established that all parents in Christmas movies are terrible.
There's a lot of issues with that movie.
They just tell him to cover up his nose and pretend like it's basically not there. They rub dirt on it, literally rub dirt on his nose to try to cover it up.
You just can't be different these days. So Gene Autry recorded the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in 1949, and it went to #1 on the Billboard charts. Mariah Carey, was she the last one?
Did it premiere in like December though?
It was well timed. But my favorite fact about that song is that he turned around and recorded an Easter hit, Here Comes Peter Cottontail, that sounds exactly the same as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It did not do as well. It sounds
like he was what we call pandering.
Well, every nursery rhyme literally has the same cadence.
I'm going to need us to get into some of these actual reindeer facts because they are fascinating, and I now want to own a reindeer and live in Alaska.
Okay, beyond all the lore about the reindeer and how they came up, I also found some fun facts that I could not tell, quite honestly. I know Ryan found these too because we were texting about them. These are really like, I don't know if they're real, I don't know if they're lore, but they're pretty interesting reindeer facts that I think are important to know. And so the first one is that reindeer can see UV light and that they're the only mammals that can.
It's pretty crazy, but I also think it makes them a very good choice.
Why do they need to see UV light? I guess are they looking for the rays of the sun so they know the time?
Do you think it's because they're in the north and so it's like they see the aurora borealis?
Maybe. So maybe they aren't.
Is it like, oh, I see the visual spectrum? I don't know. I just find it weird that they see UV light. Like I think of UV light and it's usually bad, but I also get sunburnt really easy.
Okay, I didn't tell you guys this before, but now I'm trying to connect this in my brain. It talked about how their primary food is lichen, and so what I'm thinking is, did their ancestors eat like some bad mushrooms, and then now they can see UV light because they went on out some sort of trip or something?
Lichens is also another name for werewolves, so maybe it's possible that reindeer are direct descendants of werewolves.
Okay, and then there was another fact about how their eyes can change colors.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Reindeer are werewolves.
Santa's onto some nefarious stuff, guys. We are breaking ground here. We've talked about conspiracy theories in the past.
There's always a conspiracy. There's always a conspiracy.
Is it possible that at the North Pole he's doing some sketchy breeding?
Well, I don't think he's done. I think the breeding's done. This is generations. He's perfected it.
Well, speaking of breeding,
wow!
I found. Wait. Okay, wait.
No, that's good. I like that. Let's go. Continue. That was good. Speaking of breeding.
Okay, so I found this interview, and I don't know if this is. If this has been discredited. I mean, it seems very strange. I don't know if this dude just decided to spill all about Santa and his reindeer and their nefarious practices, but this is an interview that I found on the dark web.
You have access to the dark web?
Yeah, this is my Hackzor computer name. This is Santa's Reindeer Wrangler. So I read
Santa Breeder 85.
Pretty much, yeah. I read through the entire interview, and there were some really interesting things that I think we need to talk about. So one, the different names that are listed, Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, blah, blah, blah. they are not actually names, but positions of the team.
Oh, well, see, I was going to ask this exact question because I was wondering, like, are these reindeer immortal? Like, why have they just been around?
Exactly. This was the first question in the interview. And so it sounds like what has happened is there is a dasher position. And so that is usually like, and then he also talks about how they figure out which reindeer go to which position. And I mean, this interview is fascinating. And if it's true, big if true.
It could also be considered like it's similar to James Bond, though, because like there's a theory out there that 007 is not a person, like it's an identity that person takes. So the Daniel Craig, the Roger Moore, the Sean Connery, the Pierce Brosnan, they all had
the
real
Dread Pirate
names.
Roberts.
They became James Bond when they became 007. That's why it changes person. It's always the same character. That's a theory, but it makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's not exactly the same to like, I mean, it makes more sense with the 007 because what I was thinking of is like football positions. And so like that didn't make sense because you don't call Tom Brady quarterback.
That's true.
You're not like, oh, quarterback came out on the field.
That's
like,
true. So actually the James Bond analogy is a good one. This guy actually used the quarterback analogy. So it sounds like
he's
Joe
mistaken.
is onto some shit. Okay.
I want to do a James Bond podcast. We just got to figure it out, guys. I'm all for it.
That's true. It's coming. They'll look forward to that in 2021. Okay. A couple other things. One, to find out, they have to weed out the normal reindeer from the reindeer that can fly. And the flying gene is recessive, apparently. So what they do is
fantastic.
I'm telling you, Santa is on some craziness. He puts them in a catapult and launches them into the air and looks to see if they can fly.
So this is like your weird uncle teaching you to swim at the lake by picking you up on the dock and just tossing you in the water and saying sink or swim.
That is the most alarming thing I've ever heard.
So how many dead reindeer does this end up with? Because if you can't fly, it's not like you're just going to magically...
Well, later on in the interview, it was clarified that they do put up nets to make sure that
that's not as good. I liked it better when there was like a fear in it. Like there has to be someone has to lose, otherwise it doesn't matter.
I'm surprised, honestly, that this guy got out and did this interview because I'd imagine that when the catapult's not being used on reindeer, it's used to punish like people who leak information.
Yeah,
so
I think they'd have to. I would figure he'd have to sign some kind of non-disclosure agreement.
I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like the Amish, and this guy got out in Rumspringa and just never came back.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is this was an opportunity? He's gonna go see how bad it is not at the North Pole, and then he's gonna come back to the North Pole because Santa takes care of his people.
I read this interview, and I have to read this one. So on a reindeer team, there's a dasher and a dancer and a prancer and so on. Their roles, their positions, and the position of dasher, as an example, is currently held by a reindeer named Buckletoe McGee. And before her, it was held by Tinselheart Flattery. And before her, it was held by Ted Cruz. Good question. Ted Cruz? Yes, no relation. How do you go from Buckletoe McGee to Tinselheart Flattery to Ted Cruz?
But okay, so can we talk about how much I would read a book written by the Reindeer Wrangler? Like this tell-all book about Santa would be a #1 bestseller.
So my other question is, obviously now we know that these names are positions, and I think that's important. But then my question becomes, I assume that those position names mean something to like where they are positioned on the sled. So like Dasher and Dancer make sense to me. We talked about Donder and Blitzen being like Thunder and Lightning, but like, what is the role of Cupid and Vixen? Because
as she this person tells you,
he does mention in this interview, the Cupid one is a little odd, but and this is where he kind of loses me a little bit. But he does say in the lead. So he puts Cupid in the lead when they have to sweet talk their way out of a moving violation.
And the questioner said that really happens. He goes, lots of little towns have speed traps, man. They don't care if it's Santa. You see Santa, they see a wealthy traveler who won't come back to town to contest the ticket.
This is true. This is 100% true.
How does that even work? A reindeer mitigating traffic violations. I mean, it's technical, very technical. I need graphs and a chart. And the interviewer goes, okay, what about Vixen? What role does Vixen play? And he goes, that role is currently in transition.
Interesting. My question is, are the cops, so the cops are pulling him over for a moving violation, but completely letting him skate on breaking and entering.
Well, but they don't see it. They can't prosecute it for him.
And then he also, it looks like there was a question about Rudolph, but nobody likes to talk about Rudolph. So nobody are big fans.
Interesting.
Okay. One more thing I wanted to mention, at least from this interview. We might go into more. There's so many good things. The other question you might be asking yourself is, how do they decide which position these new recruited reindeer go into? Well,
you mean the ones that survived the catapult?
Exactly. The ones that survive the catapult because they can fly. Well, have you ever heard of all those reindeer games?
Oh.
So that is how they decide which reindeer is going to be which position. So I think we talked about, Dasher is the fast one. Dancer is the one that can find the pockets and stuff like that. So that, each position has its very important role.
This is all very fascinating, and I appreciate this man going on the record and possibly causing himself to be launched from Santa's catapult for talking and telling the truth. But I think it's time that we move on to the actual topic at hand, which is our Reindeer Kentucky Derby. Obviously, horse racing, big in Kentucky. We know just from living here by osmosis, we have picked up more knowledge about horse racing than probably we should have. And so based on your knowledge of the industry, based on this extreme knowledge of the reindeer that we have picked up, I want to first find out which reindeer you have chosen to win the Reindeer Kentucky Derby. So I'm going to let Ryan go first because he seems like he is prepared big time for this. And I'm curious to hear what he did.
All right. Well, as I'm sure it was with Joe, and I think we actually were texting about this as the prep was happening. This is not an easy decision. So the way that I based my decision was I actually did some research about driving teams of animals and where you put your best animal, how the system works and things like that. I actually watched a YouTube video that was once it started playing, I realized it wasn't going to be helpful, but it was trying to teach me how to learn to drive a team of animals. So I decided not to do that. I spent a pretty good amount of time trying to find a definitive list of the order of the reindeer in like how they're placed in the team. There was nothing definitive, but I think we just have to go off of the teams that are listed in the poem. So it seems like Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen are all next to each other, with the and being the coupling. So that places Dasher and Dancer in the front. Mm-hmm. What I learned in my team driving research was that you have your strongest, probably the most bulky, a little bit more powerful animals near they're called the wheelers, and those would be closest to the sleigh. So that would be most likely Donner and Blitzen. So I thought those might be a good choice, but they're not, they're not the pullers. The leaders in the front are usually the ones that are, they're really getting it going, have the acceleration. So, I also based a little bit of this off of, the typical Dasher and Dancer personalities and the way that they've been portrayed. So Dasher is usually very, arrogant and quick and things like that. So he's often considered the fastest reindeer. Mm-hmm. But I do think there's something to him being fast in a straight line. And that is important in the Derby. But in the past few years, even at the Derby, the turns have become even more important.
You have to be able to maneuver. If you're just going in straight lines, unless you get the rail, you're in trouble.
And even then you get pushed off.
Exactly. So positioning is going to be important. And I think that makes Dancer the pick for me. So I went with Dancer. He's a co-leader on the team. I also feel like he's not as hot-headed as Dasher. He's going to be willing to listen to whatever jockey chooses to ride a reindeer in a derby. But my pick is the second reindeer, Dancer.
I think that's a very strong pick. Joe, what about you?
Okay, I looked at a lot of different things. The easy choice would obviously be Dasher because he is the fastest reindeer. But I thought that was too easy, and the favorite, unless they're just amazing, rarely never win. And, Dasher's gene pool, his stud, it's not as good as you would want. So, plus he's a heck of a trash talker. So I think they would.
Did you find that out from the reindeer handler?
Yeah, well, his breeder told me. His trash talking, I think people would block him just to see him lose.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some bumps. Those reindeer games, they don't mess around.
I went with Blitzen.
Oh.
His name means lightning, a.k.a. Thor, the god of thunder and lightning. Yes, Blitzen is Thor. I'm going with it. His character is mighty, true, and resilient. He's known to have intense power, strength, and intensity. He's the strongest reindeer of the group. And he and Donner, or she and Donner, are actually responsible for lifting and carrying the weight of the sled.
That's actually true based on the team research that I did.
He's the youngest reindeer to begin flying, and the reindeer that Santa relies on and trusts the most.
That is also true based on the research that I did. So I actually, Blitzen was my second choice because of his position. He's actually positioned directly in front of Santa.
He's very competitive and usually wins at reindeer games. Him and Dasher always fight it out towards the end. He's the bravest member of the team. He's one of the oldest members on the team. So he's weathered. He's been there. He never backs down from challenges. And he's silently confident. Like it doesn't bother him that he's not the front of the line. He knows his value. He knows he's important. He's the rock that Santa relies on. So he has no problem being the back of the pack and leading the pack from the back. He leads by example.
I was a little concerned about that pick when you first said it for the reason that, he may not be the fastest, but he is the strongest. And that is important in horse racing. You get there, you're kind of bunched together there at the start. You got to be able to kind of shoulder your way through, get to open lane and start running. So you won me over there. But now I think the thing that I really want to know the most is, let's say we're coming down. You've picked these two. We come down the backstretch, we take that final turn, and we've got Dancer and Blitzen out in front, duking it out. You're the last two, you're leading the pack. I want you to give me your interpretation of what your reindeer would do to win this duel from the front of the pack. So I'll go back to Ryan, and why don't you fill me in on what Dancer would do here?
All right, so Dancer is very experienced at the front of the team. He is always next to Dasher and always has that competition of Dasher next to him. So I think he's very comfortable in this position with somebody right next to him. But I also think his ability to jockey for position, to jockey for the best spot, because of the way that he sometimes has to lead Dasher a little bit around that rough patch of air that's coming up that he can see with his UV vision. So I think it's gonna be close. I think Blitzen is a good pick. I think he's a strong reindeer, but I don't know that he has the finishing speed that Dancer is going to be able to pull out. So I think as we come around the corner, Blitzen might actually be leading by a nose, but Dancer's going to be able to take over in the finishing sprint.
I think those are some very good points. Joe, what are your thoughts on how Blitzen would pull it out?
Blitzen's going to run his ways. He's going to get out of the gate well and fall into a good position in the middle front of the pack and wait for his moment. If he decides, if the team tries to block Dasher, Dancer, or anybody, he'll make his move. Otherwise, he's going to hang close to them. And when they become overconfident or whatever, he will make his move and take the lead. Now, I didn't get this in my fun facts about Blitzen because it's actually going to be used in the race, but he has the ability to infuse an electrical charge into any other reindeer to make them zap through the sky faster.
You are just making shit up. Whole cloth.
Nope, I read it. which you could use to strategically zap certain reindeers to help him get out of the way or where he wants to go. So if he gets to the point where he's in a pack,
you can't just no.
I'm
stop.
telling
You cannot just say, "Oh, my reindeer can zap the other reindeer and he'll win everything." No,
I found it in my
False.
research. I promise, I did not.
Okay,
make that up.
then Dancer has an extra booster gear that he can just make to go faster, and he can tap dance on Blitzen's head.
Hey man, you can get mad, but that was part of the research. But he would zap
That's not
Dancer.
part of the research. They can fly already. He can't also just have Mjolnir and start whacking people because he's Thor.
We have really unlocked something in Ryan
That's
here. I appreciate
absurd.
this show.
You cannot just introduce superpowers to this. No,
I didn't introduce anything. I did research, and this is what I came up to.
You did introduce. No, there is. I did not. I did as much, if not more, research than you. Never once did I see anywhere where Blitzen is Thor.
Hold on, I'm looking for the article.
Okay, guys, hold on. Coming from an outsider's perspective here, it sounds like Ryan was just bamboozled a little bit by a piece of information he did not find in his extensive research, and he's upset about it.
You should have looked harder.
Not.
I gotta find the website because I wrote down a button.
All right. Well, if Blitzen zaps anybody during the race, he's going to be disqualified because that.
Let me look that up in the official horse racing rules.
And also, I didn't say he zapped anybody. Maybe he's zapping himself to give that boost of energy.
Is one horse able to shock another in race? All of the information that popped up in my Google search is very alarming and about the underbelly of horse racing, but it does not specifically say anything about horse-on-horse lightning bolts.
Okay.
So
I hate
as long as Joe can back this up with some cited sources.
I'm trying to find it. I wrote down so many websites.
Well, you got to produce a source, Joe.
I'm trying. Hold on. All right, but anyways, I will find this and send it to the group chat. But he's going to use that zap and give him a final push at the end to get that nose.
You have to have it on hand. I sent you guys that interview immediately.
Hold on. We don't have time for this, Joe. I will give you time. And in the meantime, Ryan and I will go to the mod office. And when we come back, you can present your sources to us. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
It's the holiday season, and Device Pit Stop is here to help you with all of your holiday shopping needs. They are sure to have something for everyone on your list, whether you are planning to get a tablet for your kids or you're wanting to treat yourself and upgrade your phone. Device Pit Stop will be there to assist you in getting the perfect gift for anyone on your list. Throughout the rest of the month, if you use the code TMIW, you'll be able to get 10% off your entire purchase. I actually just saw recently that they posted they actually have at least one brand new iPhone 12. Make sure you go over and check them out at devicepitstopky.com, or if you're local, you can visit them at their Lexington location. Thanks again to Device Pit Stop for sponsoring this month. Once again, the website is devicepitstopky.com and use the promo code TMIW.
While you're online checking out our good friends at devicepitstopky.com, why don't you head over, find our website, find our social media, like us on there, tweet at us, let us know what you're enjoying, what you're loving, and then share it with your friends. Tag them in your tweet, tag them on Instagram, send them your favorite episode, whatever it is, that helps us more than anything. If you could just pass along all the joy that we give you this Christmas season to your loved ones, to your friends, it'll help us out immensely. We have seen a lot of growth over the course of this year on the podcast, and we cannot say thank you enough for all that you have done to help us get the word out about the show. And we want to keep that going as we head into 2021, where we think we are going to have an even more fun year than we've had in 2020. So share the podcast, share your favorite episodes, get people on board, give us a rating and a review, 5 stars as always, and just tell us what you've enjoyed about the show. Thank you all so much. And let's get back, because I think things are getting a little heated and we need to get this hashed out.
Okay, Joe, I just went to this flipping website, and
Whoa.
it is absolutely absurd.
Language.
Talking about Blitzen being basically just randomly has this ability. But I have already found my loophole, so I will use this website against you. Thank you.
That's fine.
I rest my case.
Listen, I didn't know we had to have scholarly reviewed articles for this.
No, it's fine. You know what? You found the article, and I will use it against you.
Now, in Joe's defense, we did not say our articles had to be peer reviewed.
It's fine.
I didn't Google Scholar reindeer articles. I'm sorry. I knew I wish I would
get
known.
every single one of my sources from JSTOR.
Okay, boys, calm down. Calm down. Now, listen, we came back hot from the mod office, so I need to fill everybody in on what was going on. So Joe has passed along his source for Blitzen being able to shock others, and we are now evaluating it. Joe, would you tell us what website this article came from?
Yeah, read the whole thing.
I don't need to put the HTTPS in front of it, do I?
No.
No, we do not need the full
Just do
web
the
address.
.com.
www.holidappy.com. It's HOLIDAPPY. Is that how y'all pronounce that? Holidappy?
Yes.
I think that is the correct pronunciation. Yes, sir.
Holidappy.com /holidays / the personalities of Santa's reindeer.
It's fine. Let's just get to it.
Joe is citing a specific section on this website called Quick Look at All the Reindeer. And it provides their position name, I suppose, a personality trait about them, and a skill. So, for example, Dasher loves to go fast. That's his personality trait. And his skill is sewing, which I don't know is pertinent to anything. But moving to Dancer, Ryan's pick, personality trait is completely extroverted, and his skill is all kinds of dance. All
It
of
says
them.
he really likes Latino music and loves Enrique Iglesias.
If you don't think that dancers are athletic, then I have some videos to show you.
I didn't say that.
Here's
at
the
all.
thing. I would like to put to Exhibit A. If you go to the section that to which my colleague is referring, that is the talking about this ability to infuse an electric charge to the other reindeer. There's a condition offered, and it is only when Santa yells faster. So unless Santa is yelling for Blitzen to go faster during the Derby, which would be another violation, clearly, then that is not going to happen.
Right, Josh, can you?
Well-
I don't see it where it says it only works when Santa yells faster. It says when Santa yells faster.
It says when Santa yells faster with a comma, Blitzen has
that
the
doesn't
ability.
mean only.
That is a conditional statement.
I think you're trying to stretch because you're panicking now.
It's going to be up to Josh.
I do think Santa's going to be in the crowd. And I think he might inadvertently cheer for all of his reindeers by saying faster.
He could be yelling faster at Cupid, who's in the back.
I still think we need an objective ruling about the fact that in a race against other reindeer, he would use an electric charge. That sure sounds like performance enhancement.
But he wasn't enhanced. He has it. That's part of him.
Look, you all have had great arguments. You all have both provided some interesting sources of information for this debate. And I appreciate all of the research that has gone into this, as well as the vitriol that it has created. The energy is palpable.
I don't know if I expected Reindeerby to be our hottest debate ever.
Neither did I. I thought we were going to have a good time, but everybody's frustrated. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it up a little bit this week. Instead of just like, I could cue the serious music and I could like do all that stuff. But I think we actually need to play this race out the way it's meant to be. And that is by the radio call of the first annual Kentucky Reindeer Derby. So I'm going to pass it off to my new friend, our announcer for the Kentucky Reindeer Derby, Dunder Blixham. Dunder?
Hello and welcome to this year's run for the Red Noses, the Kentucky Reindeerby, live from the famous Chimney Downs. I'm Dunder Blixham and I'll be your guide for today's race. Heading into today's highly anticipated contest are our two favorites, Dancer at 5-2 and Blitzen at 6-1, with Dasher coming in just behind at 8-1. Dancer and Blitzen will present a unique clash of styles with Dancer's agility and Blitzen's superior strength I have a do not count out Dasher who has incredible straight line speed. We fortunately only have one scratch for today's race, and that is Rudolph. The other reindeer chose not to allow him to participate in today's reindeer game. The call to the post has been made and the reindeer are entering the gates. So far, it doesn't appear that any of the creatures are stirring, with the exception of Blitzen, who appears to be arising such a clatter as they try to get him into the stall. However, it appears now that he has settled in, but hopefully not for a long winter's nap. Now with Blitzen in the gates, it appears that all of our competitors are snug in their stalls, and they're off! Dasher tore out of the gates like a flash and has taken an early lead along the rail with Dancer and Blitzen trailing behind him as they separate themselves from the rest of the pack. The reindeer are quickly flying down the track with ease, displaying their majesty for our packed crowd here today at Chimney Downs. Coming into the first turn, and Blitzen is competing with Dasher for the top spot, attempting to muscle past the tiny reindeer. Now coming into the straightaway, Dancer is attempting to make a move, but has been boxed in up to this point, a trend that will continue as Blitzen presses in closer to the rail. Now as we enter the final turn, Dasher appears to be losing some steam. Blitzen is taking a commanding lead, but oh, what should appear but Dancer moving to the outside and getting neck and neck with Blitzen and Dasher. They continue to swap the leading spot. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Blitzen. They're coming into the home stretch. St. Nick is in the box next to us, and I can hear him shouting faster, faster. And oh my goodness, the skies are splitting apart, and it appears a lightning storm has emerged above Chimney Downs. Dancer and Blitzen have taken the top two spots and left Dasher behind, but wow, lightning has just struck the track, and there's a snow cloud. I can't see who it is. Who is winning the race? And Dasher emerges from the cloud victorious in the Kentucky Reindeerby. Dasher has won the Run for Red Noses. What an upset! What an incredible turn of events!
What? This is
What?
horse. Stupid betting ticket.
That's Josh.
No, what the heck is wrong with you?
Dasher
Josh,
is the winner.
Dasher.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
Are you kidding
after
me?
all of the freaking research that we
Are
both
you
did,
kidding
that was
me?
one of our best
I'm
debates
gonna
ever.
come to your
we both
house
had
and
points
kick you
all
in
the
the
way down.
face.
We were debating for freaking 20 minutes. We both had valid points. I would actually be happier if Joe won
will
at this
social
point.
distance
What are
and
you
throw
doing?
a dodgeball right at your nutsack for this. This is for
Joe,
this is
it
because
might
you
be
don't
time-
want us to win.
It might be time to replace
Is this
Josh.
what it is? You are trying to prevent us from winning?
You are sabotaging the show,
Guys,
because
is that
you're
what
so
this
far
is?
behind. You're trying to
we compiled the
catch
Hold
up.
on.
stats today, and it's embarrassing how few victories you have. But that is no reason for you to.
There's no
do
conspiracy
this. I mean,
here.
this is sad.
Okay, look.
Fraud.
Calm down.
This
calm
is
down,
what it
calm
is.
down.
It's fraud.
I know you all are hot. I know you're angry. But there are very good reasons why Dasher won this race.
Yeah, because you're afraid to give someone else another victory.
No, that's not true. I'm not trying to play catch up. I know I'm behind. Listen, I've seen the stats. I've seen the metrics. Not looking good for me. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the anger that has been shown on this podcast. And I wanted to bring us together. And do you see what I did? I got you all to both argue on the same side. You were at each other's necks at the end of this episode. And I wanted to make sure that I united you all again.
Ryan,
Yeah.
Josh is full of reindeer shit.
Yeah.
Look, I'm
Nope,
just
we're
trying.
done. Josh, we're done with you. You can spin this however you want.
No,
It's just
no,
like you
hold on,
lost
hold
again.
on.
All right, that's going to do
Look,
it for us this week.
don't you want to have a nice moment
go
at the end of your
unfollow
Christmas
Josh
special?
Ballard on all social media.
Josh Ballard 146185.
No, that's you, Joe. That's you.
All right. Well, we all have good fun here.
I brought us together again.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, Joe and I just added 3 more victories
Basically.
to our column, and we're gonna take.
That's not how the stats work.
We actually might need to wipe all of Josh's victories now.
Well, there's not many to wipe out.
We want to thank everybody for listening and making it through. We are happy to announce that next week is Christmas. We will have a Christmas Eve special.
We are beseeching upon you, Christmas.
I didn't mean that I am allowing Christmas to happen.
Breaking news, guys. Breaking news.
Breaking news. This just
Dun,
in.
dun, dun.
Next week is I'm being told Christmas. So anyway, we will have a Christmas Eve episode. Even though it is Christmas Eve, we will record it obviously probably well before, but we want to make sure you guys have your TMIW boys to listen to over the holiday break. And we'll also have a special end of the year something. We're still working on what that's going to look like, but it's going to be great. And then we'll end out 2020, and hopefully 2021 will just be a banner year for everyone.
Just like the rest of 2020, our 2020 year in review podcast has no idea what's going to happen.
Exactly. We don't even know what we're going to do yet.
Dramatic twists and turns.
I also want to thank Isle of 8 for the use of their theme song, Jean Jacket. Go check them out. Listen to the full song. It is a great song. Always gives a great energy for our show.
Listen to like all their music, like quite honestly.
Absolutely.
We haven't really talked enough about Isle of 8. You know, they unfortunately no longer make music together. However, they were a band here in Lexington that was absolutely phenomenal. I saw them live once before. I loved it.
All great people.
They were so good, and all their music's great. So go listen to it.
They are great. Isle 8 is great. I heard they are no longer producing music, but I did hear there's a Making the Band coming out on VH1 next week about Isle of 8. So I'm very excited for that.
We not only announced Christmas, but we also announced Making the Band with
Yes,
Isle
I don't
of
think
8.
they know about it yet, but it's going to be
Phenomenal.
a banger of a show. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TMIWPod, and use the hashtag TMIWPod to send us your debate topics, what reindeer you think should win, and how big of an asshat Josh is, because we'll definitely retweet that. Make sure you subscribe, rate and review us 5 stars. That helps us a ton, just helps us get the podcast in front of more people. And just thank you for listening.
And while you're online, head over to tmiwpod.com. There you can find links to our social media, where you can buy our merch, and all sorts of other great things, including a link to our brand new website we have launched. It's a spinoff of Holodappy. It's called holodaddy.com, entirely different. Visit that.
I need to see
Check
if
it
it's
out.
real.
I do just want to quickly comment that was a Josh only adventure. So I completely wash my hands of anything that you see on that website.
Nope. It falls under our umbrella. It is under TMIW
LLC
128723 Inc. Our LLC, of course. So it is in the fold.
Guys, I have to tell you, Holodaddy is available for purchase.
Oh snap!
How much?
I don't know. It's
This
not
is
a,
the
it's
beginning
not
of
a
our
domain.
empire.
We could buy it.
All right. Thanks, Device Pit Stop. As always, there is one winner, but we're all losers. Later, losers.
See ya.
"'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of snooker plums danced in their heads, and Mama in her kerchief and
That was a spectacular failure. Thank you, Joe.